Okay, so yeah, how you all doing today? I hope you're all doing well. And if you're new to my channel, you are very welcome. And I'm going to say welcome once again to my new subscribers. And if this is your, it's so if you've been subscribed to my channel, it's so good to have you back. Okay, now I mean, in the wake of so many things breaking the internet, you know. Um, I think let's see if we can get some, some stuff back to normal. And so, for those who are just knowing me for the first time, my name is Chinyere, and you're all welcome. That said, my channel is not just about celebrity news and pop culture that we do here. We also talk about, um, you know, we talk about, marriage and relationship advice. We get to talk about, things that affect women and men, in a society as we know it. And on one of my videos, I had always talked about, a woman's success and the fact that, men feel threatened by a woman's success. And so today we're going to try to understand some of the reasons why this could be the case. And first of all, a very strong disclaimer, this is not all men, but we have growing concerns of men who in the beginning it seemed okay, or they're dating a very successful person, and then along the way it turns sour. We've got the likes of Taylor Swift, we've got even Britney Spears, um and we are in a situation where you know it's not looking the way and all rosy and beautiful as it seemed in the beginning. Okay, and so we're going to try to understand some of this because sometimes I think it's okay to it's I think it's okay for men to actually speak about their insecurities. Now, as Black people, I know it's not something that happens a lot in our culture, but um I also feel like women have been more vocal in their insecurities. And we're also going to talk about insecurities of, women and their insecurity. We're going to talk about that in another video. But I feel that women have been more vocal with their insecurities than men. And, I also believe that it's also going to be helpful when, these insecurities are voiced and, we're able, to be able to come to terms with this as an insecurity and get to deal with it. We have a very clear case of Iman and Teyana Taylor, who are one of those couples that I really, really loved to see. And then, boom, it's not working anymore. And we can say a lot of reasons why. Teyana Taylor has a career that is, has picked up. And then we've got her husband, who's an ex-basketball player. And boom, things are not looking amazing anymore. And it could be for a lot of reasons. And we're going to actually abord, some reasons why and understanding why, this is an issue for them. And then we're going to also talk about how it can be dealt with. Okay. So I've got notes. And in all honesty, before I start, they said research shows that a disturbing reality that is relatively common for women to have experienced a partner who was uncomfortable with your success, or worse, actively tried to sabotage it. Yeah. And then, and there are so many ways, men get to do this, So it depends. I'm going to see if we can factor that in, or we'll leave it for another video, because today we're actually focusing on understanding these insecurities. So what will a man, or what will make a man feel insecure about a woman's success? So it's going to start a lot of things. A lot of men are okay with the ideology, that, they bagged a successful woman. But being able to keep that energy is also very difficult for them. And it could be for a lot of factors. Okay. And we've seen it play out. I talked about it in one movie that I reviewed some time ago. I'm going to look for the I'm going to try and look for and I'm going to attach it here. I reviewed it in the movie where it happened, you know, and we see a downright decline, a slope of how Luke just went bananas over the fact that his fiance, had outgrown him. And this happens, okay? And so we're also going to look at that and understanding that. We're also going to be able to understand how patriarchy has worked this, because the same research shows. I'm going to also put the quotes there, that much of this is due to society's deeply ingrained patriarchal, principles. So that historically, society has placed a higher value on men's achievements, and it's true. I recall, I've seen movies, even, heard stories. I'm Nigerian again, by the way. And I've heard stories of where parents have told their girl child not to go to school, but then allow the boys to go to school, and that the girl child is to be married off. Now, this is still going on in some places in Nigeria. It's not over, it's still going on. And the demographic actually that has the highest, I've talked about this also, demographic that has the highest number are in the northern part of Nigeria, where this is playing out. Most of the children in the northern part of Nigeria do not go to school, at least 80% of them. Only the elites. That's another story for another day. So let's understand, why a man would feel insecure about the success of a woman. So, a man meets a woman and, she's successful, or he's actually as successful. And then she starts, flying in her job. Now, a lot of things could come into play. And the thing is, we all know that, men are always in their feelings about a lot of things. So one of the things I would also talk about is, financial status. There's a shift, okay? And this is a man's ego talking here, because again, the concept of a man being a provider, and, he's what's the three P's: the provider, the protector, and blah. Now, the fact that a woman may be earning more than you does not stop you, the man, from being a provider. And I think that is one of the things that is actually, disturbing here. Why would you assume or think that because she earns more than you, then you stop being a provider? You just keep doing things as you've done. A lot of men do not understand that no matter how much a woman has, no matter how much money she's making, you see that one from you. You see that $1,000 diamond bracelet. You see that $250, $350 perfume. You see those $700, $1,000 YSL shoes you buy. Those things you've been doing, and you keep doing them as you used to. She will continue to appreciate it. And I think that is one of the things men have not, men in this category have not come to understand. Your financial, status has nothing to do with where she is. In fact, she is very comfortable in the comfort and the knowledge that you are still, doing and playing your role as you've always been. Okay? Now, one of the things also is that this is a situation where now he is now comparing himself. Why would you be comparing yourself to your peers or even your spouse? It doesn't come into play here. It's not the same thing. Why comparing? Okay? There is no need to compare. Just keep doing your thing and be comfortable in your own skin. Now, another thing is that, that actually could be a problem because usually, men are wired here, okay? And when they have insecurities here, it affects what is happening down below. Yeah, that's how it is. And so we're going to be talking about, performance anxiety. Now, this is something that you have put upon yourself. Now, get this, performance anxiety. And when I'm talking about performance, I'm talking about your sexual performance. I'm talking about, the things related to your life. Um, it could be, maybe you used to, probably used to exercise before you stopped. And, probably again, I talked about sexual performance. I'm also talking about, your job. Understanding that, this is what you are thinking. You see, that's the thing about insecurity. Insecurities are what you are, your thoughts, your insecurities, what your brain, your mind has registered as imperfection. And so, understanding that, this is something you put on yourself, and on getting it's like, it's, it may sound easy, but I know it's not, but removing that from you so that you are able to have and enjoy and give the fullness of whom you are to your partner. Okay. And again, physical appearance. So you're dating somebody, you're married to someone, who's successful. Now, of course, with success comes a change of looks, it happens. I mean, there is no one who's going to become, who attains millionaire or billionaire status that necessarily remains the same, especially for women. And so you are now looking at physical appearance. You're comparing yourself to the people she's with or the people she hangs around with. And that should not come into play at all. Because again, she saw you, she met you, she said yes to you and not any other person. So being able to understand that your physical appearance, is actually temporary. It's a temporary fix. It's a temporary problem. And so fix it. If there is a problem, fix it. That's it. So if you're not comfortable anymore with the fact that, oh, okay, well, I've got a beer belly now, or I've got a bald head, and you're seeing her, she's hanging out, and probably her colleagues are, Adonises. Listen, them and you are not the same. And if you're having any issues with that, then get to work out, get to start doing something about it, okay? To make you feel better about yourself. Again, it's about you and it's not about her, okay? So do something about it. Get working, go to the gym, change your diet, whatever it is you have to do, but do it and to understand that, okay, this is, and the thing about it is, I realized with a lot of men and with a lot of women, sorry, myself included, that once you notice your spouse doing something that is, that seeks to move them in a direction you've never noticed before. Women, we're very smart. We hone in on things like that. Like, hey, dude, what's happening? Sometimes when I see my husband and my husband is working out, and usually he works out because of his job. He works out once a week. So imagine my husband, he's working out maybe 2 times or 3 times in 1 week, and I'm like, hey, uncle, what's going on? At that time, women, we hone in on stuff like that, and you're already beginning. Your curiosity is piqued. Women are fast in that direction. Your curiosity is piqued really quickly. And you're like, okay, what's this guy doing? Why is he doing this? Okay. Now, what you succeed in doing is you're flipping the coin now. Okay. Because at that time, she's now beginning to notice you. It's not them, but you. You're doing something different. You are taking control of things. Okay. And I think this is actually where the problem lies. Not being able to understand that this is actually you And it has nothing to do with her at all. Now, another thing again is maintaining the relationship. Again, it speaks to me in the same way like financial status. Being able to maintain that relationship means, okay, so you have this high flyer as a wife, and okay, things have changed. Probably she has to keep late hours because of the job. Probably she has to, be at meeting, whatever. And she's going to come home, she's tired. How are you going to be thinking about maintaining this relationship, maintaining the status of this relationship? Things have changed, okay? What do you do? Okay? And most times, I realize that most men pick the wrongest time to have that conversation at night, when she's tired, when she's just home, and she just wants to, give you a hug or a kiss, take a hot bath, and go to bed. What can you do instead? Why don't you be the one to find out, when she's coming home? Why don't you be the one to run her the bath? Or better still, go find her, go pick her up and like, okay, don't worry, I'm coming to pick you up. I know you'll be very tired. You see, women, we are emotional creatures. We connect emotionally. Okay? So things have changed. Then what did you change? What are you going to offer instead? I recall one time I finished from work pretty late, and we had after hours, we had drinks after hours, and it was, strictly my office. And so I had actually had it in mind to call my husband and say, okay, I'll be out after hours, And so by 9 p.m., you know, my phone was going off. My son was, and the truth about it was I did not know, because I had my phone in my bag, and, we're having, we're drinking, we're talking. So by the time, the gist, discussion, everything, I had totally forgotten, and my phone was blowing up. And so my son was calling, my husband was calling, and then, I picked my phone out. I'm like, oh my God, missed calls. And now, he now picked, I pick up the phone as he rings, and like, oh, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah. I knew he was upset at that time, and he was like, okay, fine, where are you? And I said, and I told him where we were, because, for us at home, for us as married couples, the rule of thumb is, if you're staying out late, just say where you are. That's it. Give information of where you are, and how you're coming back home, or what you need, whatever you need. So I told him where I was, and he says, okay, so what time will you be finishing? And I said, well, we're looking at, I gave him, an ETA, and he was like, okay, fine, let me know when you guys are done, and I'll come and pick you. Now, remember, I was a little bit tipsy, had drunk. So when the time was, I sent him a quick text. I'm like, okay, we'll soon be rounding up, okay? And then he drives out, and he comes to pick me up. So sometimes just the fact that you're able to think ahead can actually, make things look pretty. And one thing is, like I said, women, we are emotional creatures. Their acts of service are actually a way to smooth over, things that would grate on your nerve. Don't make her feel guilty over her being late or working. Like I said, women were very perceptive. She will decide on her own, will I continue to do this? Oh, my husband. We're like that. And there is something that will come out one time in her life when she says, okay, I'm not going to work, or whatever, this period I'm spending for my husband. Women's acts of services are very, very numerous, and we know how to do it. From staying at home with you, to making sure that you have the things you love, to preparing the nicest dishes for you. Example, someone like me, I hate cooking. I don't cook once in a while. But there are times when I cook. I would cook, not I cook because, but I would cook when, I'm in that situation where I'm trying to, you know, put out this beautiful gesture for my husband. My husband loves, he cooks well, but he loves my food. And so knowing that, I'm like, okay, I'll think of something lovely that I know he hasn't eaten for a while and I'll prepare it, you know. Women understand things like that, and the acts of service come naturally to them that way. Um, Another thing again is fear. Yes, when a man is in that position, he's afraid. His ego is feeding him a million and one things about why this relationship or why this woman, he can't be with this person. The fear of the unknown, the fear of you being with another man or seeing someone else who is worthier than he is. And this is a very, very valid emotion, okay, where fear is concerned, you know. And so, you know, it's about, being able to understand and convince yourself that there is nothing to be afraid of. As long as you're still the same person. Because one of the signs of a man who is threatened by a woman's success is guilt tripping her. Guilt tripping her over time spent at work, guilt tripping her over the people she's with, and then trying to control what she's wearing. So, what I'm saying in a nutshell is when you see a man trying to control the things you're wearing, and guilt tripping you over the time you spend out, know that he's beginning to have a problem with, your rising financial, status, and at that point it's either he deals with it, communicates exactly how he's feeling, or that relationship will have to go. That's it. Then yeah, I think this is also very important. Cultural insecurities. Many of these insecurities actually quite cultural. For example, in Nigeria, in parts of Nigeria, not just parts of Nigeria, all over Nigeria, you're going to hear men who say, don't marry a woman who's successful. I remember when Funke Akindele's marriage, her second marriage, ended, and some dude who looks like, I don't know, one dude, I don't even understand what he looked like. I saw that Instagram post very recently, and I don't know. I didn't save it, and he actually wrote there that about not marrying a successful woman, how she's untamable, she can't be controlled, blah 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 blah. I'm like, hey, uncle, what's agwan? What's going on with you? You have assessed Funke Akindele only with all this language. Yeah, it was scary. But you see, there are actually people who actually think that way in today's 21st century. I've actually talked about this. There was a Nigerian performer, who actually said something in that regard to another actress, an actor in Nigeria. And she was supposed to be giving out a message. I've talked about it in the video. And he now told her that he doesn't have time to banter words with her, that the person he needed to speak with was her husband. But no, again, first of all, the post she made was her post. You came on her post, on her page, and you were chastising her for something she wrote. And it was about women being successful as well. And then when she now responds to you, she now says that you now tell her, no, I would rather the person he needs to talk to is her husband. Why didn't you think about that before replying under her post? And that is exactly what I'm saying. There are men who are actually, and this is no joke, actually threatened in all ramifications by a woman's success, A to Z. And they exist. And, one would say that, in my opinion, those kind of people who have set their minds on such things, I don't really see convincing them out of it. Those ones are, in their lane. But I'm just trying to make you understand that they exist. And so it's also, it's cultural. that there are people in this demographic who actually think this way, and when it's like that, this is something that this person has to do on their own. No one can change. you know Normally culture evolves, but people like that, I'm not so sure how evolution will actually draw them very close to that change. My last point on this will be aging, and yeah, age. So a woman is young. I mean, most men marry young women, and she's young. So one could say, well, age is on her side. I don't know. It could just be that she's talented. She's fantastic at what she does. But then you're also dealing with someone who's older than you. Okay. Again, let me use Iman and Diana. Iman used to play basketball for injury. I think for if he had injuries or something, or he retired. I'm not sure which one it is, and so he's not playing anymore. So the money is not coming as it used to. And now now they were married, and at the time Diana was doing her thing. He was, it seemed rosy, beautiful, 2 kids, and things seem to be going marvelously. And boom, Diana's career is picking up. Okay? It's flying. Now he is not seeming very comfortable anymore with this. Okay. Because where she's going, he can't go. Or maybe he chooses not to go. The people she's seeing or she's meeting, he can't, for whatever reason. And so things are not, there's a lot of friction there. Okay. And he's wondering, okay, so what am I going to do with myself, for myself at this age? And you see, that is actually the danger, because understanding that knowledge is infinite, know that. And so learning, moving, evolving is also infinite. The day you tell yourself it's over, it's actually over. And I am of the school of thought that everything, evolution, you must be curious. You must be willing to learn. This is my motto. Be willing and ready to learn. I think I've talked to you guys how I got accepted for my MBA. I got accepted to my MBA on it was only one question. In all honesty, just one question. Fair trade. I did not know what it was at the time. But because I used to buy stuff at Body Shop, and they always put that fair trade, I'm like, what is this fair trade? And I took my time and I went to do research on it. The question they asked me when I went for my interview for my MBA, that was the question. I'm like, okay. And I just started writing. You must be curious. You must want to have quest for knowledge. And so this is someone who's already told himself that, this is where it stops for him. And then because of that, you're looking at your spouse and you're like, okay. And then you have already given yourself, you have already put your limitations, my age, my this, my that. He's not thinking beyond that. He's not thinking beyond, okay, what if I become a basketball coach? What if I do this? He's not thinking beyond where he is right now. And so anyone would have wondered, how would a man be, insecure about his age? But yeah, there are men who are insecure about their age. And you see, aging is actually beautiful. Okay? It's actually a beautiful thing, but it depends on how you accept it. It depends on how you work with it. It depends on how you are willing to roll with it. Because if you roll with it right, it will serve you. I'm seeing great-grandmothers, grandmothers doing amazing things at 80, 90. We had, I saw the news yesterday, a 61-year-old or 71-year-old father who bagged his PhD with honors, best performing student in the whole class. And these are things that you tell yourself that, it's possible. Okay, so let's go to how do we handle, I've given some, pointers, but how do we go above insecurities, of this nature? The first thing I always say to couples is communication. Communication. I cannot stress it enough, and I think it's actually taken for granted. Communicate in words, communicate with your body, communicate with your eyes, communicate with your hands, communicate, speak to your partner, speak to your wife, speak to your spouse. Be willing to see a therapist, be willing to be open. Most men are not open about their insecurities. Most men are not even open about the fact that they can or should seek therapy. No. And this is number one on the list. Communicate. 2, what you can't change, work with it. What you can change it. When I talked about physical appearance, when I talked about, your performance anxiety, when I talked about, all those things. What you can't. So let me say it in the words I said. I said, change what you can, change what can be changed, and accept what can't. And this is amazing. What can't be changed? And those things that can be changed, you know that they are permanent. What can you change? I can change my appearance. I can decide to go work out. I can decide to change how I eat. These are things that you can control. Okay? So that is also very important. Now, 3, being able to understanding, and trusting what your partner says. You see, that's the thing. A lot of men, when their wives and their partners are telling them, but I don't see that, I'm not looking at that, it doesn't even bother me. Many of them, they don't trust that because their insecurities have beclouded their emotions. They are not thinking anymore. Trust that. Trust what they are telling you implicitly because they are telling you the truth. And I'm going to go to the next 2 for spouses or partners. While your husband or your partner speaks about their insecurities with you, empathy and understanding is primordial. Support. These 3 things: empathy, support, and understanding. Understanding that these insecurities are normal. Showing empathy and being willing to be that person, that shoulder. Give support. Your support, whether it's through therapy, whether it's in their change of diet or in the fact that they want to start working out, give your full support. And this is where this video is going to stop today. Thank you all so much for listening to me. Thank you all so much for being part of my family. I would love to hear your comments. I would love to hear your opinions. I would love to know your thoughts, all in the comment section below. Do not fail to like, do not fail to comment, do not fail to subscribe, and more especially, do hit the notification button so that when I put up a video, you'll be the first to know. So I'm going to attach that video here so that you can go and watch it. And do not fail to follow me on all my social media networks. It's all Juliet Style Glam, except Twitter. Twitter is Juliet Style. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. If you're not following me there, find me there. Just type my name, is the same name here, and you'll find me there and follow me on those networks. And I'll see you all, wonderful people, in my next video. See you. Bye.